Hi, this is Jaya. In this video, we shall see the summary of The White Tiger by Aravind Adiga. The White Tiger is the story of Balram Halwai. His life says that he is a self-declared, self-made entrepreneur. Actually, his father was a rickshaw driver, but he has skillfully climbed India's social ladder and became a chauffeur to a very rich man, and later on he became a successful businessman. When the story begins, Balram recounts his life by writing a letter because he is going to visit China for the Chinese official premiere. And he is writing this letter to one person called Ben Jiabo, who has invited him for this Chinese official premiere. And he is writing this letter with the goal of educating the premier generally about this entrepreneurship in India. And though Balram is writing this letter from his luxurious office in the city of Bangalore, he begins the story in his rural ancestral village of Lakshmangarh. He says that throughout his childhood, his destitute family lived at the mercy of four cruel, exploitative landlords. And he calls them all as animals, and he names the animals as the raven, the stork, the buffalo, and the wild boar. This is how he sees their nature, and according to the nature, he has named them. As a child, he excelled in school. His academic potential and personal integrity showed him separately from the other classmates, and that came to the attention of the school inspector who visited his school. And it was this inspector who nicknamed him as the White Tiger. The White Tiger is actually the most rare and intelligent creature in the jungle. Therefore, he named him as the White Tiger. Even his parents recognized his potential and they wanted him to complete his education. But his grandmother Kusum told everyone that they have to stop him from school early because they needed money to support the family, and therefore the boys have to go to work. Balram was determined to continue his education however he can. So when he and his brother Kishan began working in a tea shop in a nearby Dunbad, Balram neglected his duties and spent most of his time listening to the customers' conversation. In the same manner as he was listening to them talking, one day he overheard one customer speaking wistfully about the high earnings and the easy life that India's private chauffeurs enjoyed. Because these chauffeurs will be working under the rich people and they will be accompanying them to five-star hotels and to all the resorts where they go, and wherever they travel, since they are driving their cars, they will go along with them. And literally they will be living the life of those rich people. Only thing is they are their drivers. But the food they eat and where they stay, everything will be in the same premises of these rich people. And therefore Balram went and he begged his grandmother to send him to the driving school. His grandmother Kusum agreed after Balram was made to promise that he will send his full wages once he finds a job. He went for driving class and completed his training and knocked on all the doors of all the rich families who lived in Dunbad. And by luck, he arrived at the mansion of the stock, that is, one of Lakshmigar's animal landlords. He looks at every landlord as one animal, and this person's personality suited the stock. And actually, when he went, the stock's son, Mr. Ashok, had come from America with his wife Pinky, whom Balram addresses as Pinky Madam. The family hires Balram to become Ashok's driver. But the work given to him is the work of the general servants of the family, because there was another servant, Ram Prasad, who had the privilege of driving them around, while Balram had to stay at home and do the other general servants' work. And as he was working, Balram learnt that the stock's family fortune came from illegally selling coal out of government mines. And because they were illegally doing this, they bribed the ministers so that the ministers will turn a blind eye to their fraudulent business and also allow the family from paying income tax. That is, this family was not paying income tax at all, and they were illegally selling the government coal mines coal outside. And actually, if you see at that time, this family had a disagreement with the region's rural politician who was also referred to as a great socialist. So the family sends Ashok and Pinky to Delhi, and the arrangement was that Ashok will go and distribute more bribes so that he can amend everything and they can continue their business as usual and earn a lot. When Balram learns that the couple will need a driver in Delhi, he knew very well that Ram Prasad only will be going along with them. So he devised a scheme so that Ram Prasad was dismissed from his job and Balram was taken to Delhi along with Ashok and Pinky. Once they come to Delhi, Balram saw that Pinky and Ashok's marriage was not as happy as everyone had thought, and in fact they were drifting apart. One day Pinky drank and she drove the car on herself, and she dashed on one small young child and killed the young child, and because of this she returned to US. And in her absence, Ashok went out to the bars and clubs and hired prostitutes on the night, and in fact he was even meeting his former lover. And observing his master's gradual corruption, because Balram was only driving him through the Delhi seedier districts, Balram becomes disillusioned and resentful. He knew very well that Ashok was a relatively kind master compared to others. But at the same time, Balram thought that whatever generosity Ashok had shown him, it was only a fraction of what he can afford. Actually, he felt that he can give him more, but he was giving him less. Because whatever Ashok gave did not help Balram to achieve a better life or to change his present status. So Balram devises a plan. The plan is to kill Ashok and take that money. It was a huge amount of money which he had brought, and he was keeping with him itself because it's illegal money. He could not deposit it in any safe place. So he had to keep the money with him, and he was carrying that money along with him to bribe the politicians. So Balram thought this is the best time to kill Ashok and also take the money. And at the same time he thought there is a risk of being caught, but he had to contend with the logic of the rooster coop. The rooster coop is a system where the Indian poor people are oppressed and kept as poor people itself. And Balram knew that he was also one among them, and he was also trapped. Like he could not come out of the life. At the same time, even if he continues this life, there is not going to be any change in his lifestyle. So Balram knew that if he kills Ashok, Balram also knew that if he kills Ashok, then Ashok's family will murder all his relatives who are living in Lakshmangarh in retaliation. And at the same time, Balram also had to be in Delhi because Kusum, that is his grandmother, had sent his young cousin Dharam to him and had demanded Balram to raise him up. So now Dharam is also here. He has also come here, and so if Ashok escapes, the first person to be killed is Dharam, and then the others in his place. So Balram had to think about all this. But anyway, he decided that he will proceed with the murder, and for the sake of weapon, what he did is he broke a liquor bottle and he prepared it as a weapon. And one day when he was driving Ashok to deliver a very large amount of money as bribe, Balram pretended that there was a mechanical problem with the car. He stopped the car and somehow convinced Ashok to kneel down and examine the wheel. And while Ashok was doing it, he brought the broken bottle down on Ashok's head. And thus he killed him. And then he returned to Ashok's apartment, collected Dharam, and he escaped along with his young cousin to Bangalore. Once he reached Bangalore, he took some time to come out of his fear and regain his nerves. And then slowly he started wandering in the city. And his habit is, even in Dhanbad, in the tea shops, he will be listening to the conversation of others. In the same way, in Bangalore, he was listening to the conversation in the caves. And this, he thought, will help him to plan his next move. As he thought, he soon learnt that Bangalore's business world revolves around outsourcing and that many large technology companies work on nocturnal schedule. Nocturnal schedule means people will work in the night because the companies with which they are dealing most probably will be in America and some other places where it will be daytime for them. So for them, our people will be working in the night. So Balram creates a taxi company called White Tiger Drivers, and their work is to bring call center workers home safely at night. And as he thought, this venture became an enormous success. And now he is sitting and telling his story. Balram is now a wealthy man who keeps to himself. Still he has the fear that one day his crime will be discovered and he will be punished. But he concludes a letter which he is writing to Ven Jiabo saying that even if he is found out, he will never regret his crime. Because he says, only because I committed that crime, I am experiencing a free man's life now. I am an entrepreneur, I am a rich man, I am a businessman. If I had not committed that crime, till date I will be an ordinary servant and there would not be any chance of survival or improvement in my life. And thus the story ends. It's a beautiful story. And if you have anything to add on to what I've said, please write it in the comment box. Like the video, share it with your friends. And if you have not subscribed my channel, please subscribe and support. Thank you.